The best players of the 90s. Did you know that George Weah is the only African to have won the Ballon d'Or and become the head of state of a country? The more you know, right? So guys, today's retrospective is devoted to some of the legendary players quite a few of us grew up watching during the 90s, and boy, what an amazing era it was. The 90s were an era that was marked by the dominance of Italian football, and those of us who watched the Serie A teams of that time know all too well that some of the best players of that time played in top-flight Italian football. Buckle up, because we're going to take you on a trip down memory lane, and we can guarantee you being hit by a healthy dose of nostalgia. So go grab a nice cold beer and let's get into it. Number 1. Peter Schmeichel. Peter Schmeichel is a legend of Danish football, and there's a reason why he's still considered one of the greatest players to ever play for Manchester United. The burly Dane dominated his goal during the 90s and was the heir apparent to the likes of Lev Yashin, Gordon Banks, and Dino Zoff. His breakthrough moment came during the 1992 European Championship in Sweden. That tournament saw him defy the legendary Marco van Basten during the penalty shootout win over the Netherlands. A few days later, the Danes won the competition. During his time at United, the big Dane was a behemoth, making saves that defied logic. He was a pillar of Sir Alex Ferguson's side and ended up winning 5 league titles, 3 FA Cups, and the Champions League. Number 2. Roberto Carlos. Kids these days might never know how good Roberto Carlos was. The Brazilian was a marauding fullback who was renowned for having a mean left foot. Known for his frantic runs at supersonic speed and tendency to test out the keeper from odd angles, Carlos defied the laws of physics. If you don't believe us, just ask Fabian Barthez, who was on the receiving end of one of the oddest yet greatest goals in the game's history. Success followed Carlos in Spain, where he helped Real Madrid to 4 league titles and 3 Champions League trophies, and his World Cup triumph in 2002 was just as impressive. Number 3. Paolo Maldini. The story of Paolo Maldini is of a man who walked in the illustrious footsteps of his father and managed to surpass him. Son of Cesar, a legendary Milan player during the 1960s, Paolo did everything his father did, playing his entire career for the Lombardy Giants. Maldini amassed 902 appearances, won the Scudetto 7 times, and helped himself to 5 Champions League trophies. His pairing with Alessandro Costacurta was quite something. The Milan defense of the 90s was just too good, with Franco Baresi, another centre-back who shone throughout this time period. Maldini had everything going for him: elegance, solidity, intelligence, versatility, and ability to use both feet. The Italian was the embodiment of everything good about Milan, and just like his father, was a born leader. Maldini was respected everywhere, and that was quite evident during his last Milan derby, where the Inter Milan fans paid tribute to him by displaying a banner that stated, "Maldini, our rival for 20 years, always loyal for 20 years." Number 4. Marcel Desailly. The French international was born in Ghana and was later adopted by a French family. After finding his calling in football during his formative years at the Nantes Academy, the youngster would eventually sign for Olympique de Marseille, whom he guided to their first and so far only Champions League triumph. However, that was not the end of it. Desailly moved to AC Milan in 1994, where he won 2 league titles and 1 Champions League trophy. In 1998, he wore the captain's armband and won the World Cup for France. A commanding centre-back, Desailly was a true leader of men. Number 5. Cafu. Today, we get to see the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold and Reece James as prime examples of a modern-day fullback. However, the foundations of a buccaneering fullback were first laid down by this Brazilian during the 90s. Cafu was way ahead of his time and became a specialist for his position. Blessed with great technique and searing pace, Cafu was such an adept dribbler that you might even have mistaken him for a winger. He was a tormentor of defenders in Italy for a number of years, and while he was a great attacking presence, the Brazilian was equally diligent when it came to defending. AS Roma won their only Scudetto of this century in 2001, and Cafu played a big role in that. A few years later, he won the Champions League with Milan. On the international front, Cafu featured in 4 World Cups for Brazil and won the competition twice. Number 6. Lothar Matthäus. Just like Franz Beckenbauer, Lothar Matthäus is the embodiment of German football. While the Kaiser ruled the 70s, Matthäus dominated the 80s and 90s. Versatile and a true leader of men, Matthäus wasn't as technical or graceful, but his ability to adapt his game over time and acclimatize to various tactical setups was what made him great. While he made passes with surgical precision, Matthäus never shirked from defending and breaking up play. Due to his ability to do whatever was needed to help the team, the German was the first name on the team sheet for Bayern Munich and Inter Milan during his time in Italy. The greatest moment of his career came in 1990, where where he was the heart and soul of the German side that won the World Cup in Rome at the expense of Diego Maradona's Argentina. Number 7. Hristo Stoichkov. As well known for his cannon of a left foot as for his volatile temperament, Hristo Stoichkov is the greatest player in Bulgarian football history. While he was quite the bad boy of football, Stoichkov was immensely talented. He could play both as a playmaker and as a left-sided attacker. With a haughty attitude that was backed by consistent performances, the Bulgarian won the European Golden Boot in 1990. He eventually joined Barcelona, where he found the net 117 times, won the league 5 times, and also helped them to their first ever Champions League title in 1992. In 1994, he won the Ballon d'Or after finishing runner-up in the FIFA World Player of the Year award twice. Number 8. Ruud Gullit. Never has a footballer been as versatile and complete as Ruud Gullit. The native of Amsterdam was an athletic specimen. In a career that spanned 3 decades, Gullit shone for Feyenoord, PSV and AC Milan, with whom he won the Scudetto 3 times and the European Cup twice. Gullit was one player who never represented Ajax or Barcelona, but still epitomized the ethos of total football. Do you think that Barcelona could have achieved a lot more during the early 90s had they signed Ruud Gullit? Let us know in the comments down below. Number 9. Romario. Romario was an atypical striker admired for his unpredictable style. A football globetrotter who played on 5 continents and represented 9 different clubs. The native of Rio de Janeiro was renowned for his explosiveness and his speed, which allowed him to easily get rid of opposing defenders in order to create unlikely spaces in the penalty area. However, nothing was easy for the diminutive Brazilian, who grew up in misery and extreme poverty in a favela, and who had to fight to win his first professional contract with Vasco da Gama. Spotted and transferred to PSV Eindhoven in 1988, he won 6 titles in 5 seasons and scored 128 goals. Romario then accepted FC Barcelona's proposal and joined the Catalan club in 1993, which then propelled him to the top. He would later become only the 2nd Brazilian in history to win La Liga for the Catalan Giants in 1994. At the same time, Romario became a hero for Brazil at the 1994 American World Cup. The best player in the competition scored the goal in the semi-finals and won the World Cup, thus ending a 24-year wait for Brazil to rule football again. Number 10. George Weah. George Weah is a tale of one of exceptional destiny. A native of Liberia, an extremely poor nation in West Africa, Weah dragged himself out of poverty through his talent and arrived in France in 1988. Fast and powerful, the attacker had a sense of perfect balance around him. Despite his imposing frame, Weah was deceivingly skillful. In 1994, he literally carried PSG to the semi-final of the Champions League and scored 8 goals in the process. A move to AC Milan was well deserved, and this is where he wrote a beautiful chapter, not just for himself, but also for his country. In 1995, Weah became the first and so far only African to win the Ballon d'Or. One of the greatest African players of all time, Weah decided to enter politics and is currently the president of Liberia. Number 11. Ronaldo Nazario. A few years before the dominance of Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo on the football scene, an apex predator roamed the football stadia around the world, coming alive in the final third. Ronaldo Nazario was not a footballer like the others. He was the essence of football. He was the purest expression of the round ball and the most fabulous aesthete of his time. This is no offense to the Portuguese Ronaldo with whom he shares the same surname. Il Fenomeno was a prodigious player capable of the most stunning dribbles and of destroying any defense with a devastating thrust. Ronaldo was able to put everyone in agreement despite playing for many rival clubs throughout his career. The native of Bento Ribeiro was a supernatural being who had the football planet at his feet and captivated audiences. A centre forward with brilliant technique and superhuman speed, Ronaldo had magic in his feet and continuity in his ideas. Feints, hooks, changes of direction, stepovers. The ball seemed like a magnet that never left him. Once in motion, Ronaldo would bombard the opposing goal with heavy and powerful strikes. Ambidextrous and strong in the air, the Brazilian had exceptional mental qualities. Ronaldo was unlike any striker we've ever seen. If you ask us, there were 2 versions of Ronaldo, one during the 90s and the other one at the turn of the current century. The one in the 90s was a force of nature who would dribble past defenders as if they weren't there in the first place. His time at Barcelona and Inter Milan is dominated by some truly amazing goals. At the 1998 World Cup, he was Brazil's main man, but on the eve of the final against France, he had a panic attack and was not himself throughout the encounter as the Seleção lost the game 3-1. A series of knee injuries threatened to end his career, but when he came back, Ronaldo was as good as he had always been. While his speed was not as blinding as it used to be, he was still as potent as they come. The Brazilian managed to win silverware wherever he went, end. He became World Player of the Year 3 times, won the Pichichi Trophy in Spain twice, and the Ballon d'Or twice as well. Definitely the greatest striker the game has ever seen. So guys, this was our take on the top 11 players of the 90s. If you like what you saw, make sure to let us know in the comments, subscribe to our channel, and watch this video in the link. Till next time.